High emotions have seen a huge town meeting shut down in Alice Springs. It was organised by local business owners who are considering launching a class action against the Northern Territory government over the town's crime surge. But the meeting was stopped after just 20 minutes. Indigenous affairs correspondent Carly Williams is in Alice Springs.
This meeting last night was called Save Alice Springs, and it was organised by business owners in town. It was at the Convention Centre, which is one of the biggest buildings in Mbarntwa here in Alice Springs, and it was jam-packed. I've heard upwards of 2,000 people attended. When we arrived, there was cars parked kilometres down the road. So on the agenda was property damage, people not feeling safe in their own homes and in their own cars. There was talk of suing the Northern Territory government for a whopping $1.5 billion because business owners say the government has failed to keep their businesses safe. The meeting was shut down after 20 minutes by organisers after a couple of speeches because there was some protesting and some singing out. So the organisers said they wanted to shut that down. People were leaving early and streaming out of that convention centre in Alice Springs. We spoke to some who were quite emotional. One resident who was non-Indigenous said the meeting was, quote, a disgusting display of white supremacy. Another said that there was tension and anger in the room. Other attendees from the business side said they were happy to be heard about their concerns about feeling unsafe in town. Let's take a listen to what some of the residents had to say.
Could be putting that $1.5 billion into dealing with the causes of the crime, which is poverty-based crime. They could be putting it into housing, bilingual education, youth programs, kids on country not in custody, all the programs that have shown to work. But instead they want to take punitive approaches. They want to reward the landlords, and it's just a total white supremacist fest in there. And I'll tell you what, the vibe, it was scary.
And Carly, how did Indigenous custodians who went to the meeting feel?
I spoke to some custodians yesterday before the meeting, like William Tillmouth from Children's Ground, a grassroots organisation, and he said, I'm not going to go. I don't want to be in that space. The elders that I spoke to at the conference said they felt blindsided by the plan to sue the government. They didn't know if that was the best step forward. They thought there would be more realistic solutions being talked about at this conference. Something that was missing from the meeting, Joe, was kids, was young people. Elders were concerned that young people, considering they are in the spotlight at the moment for issues on the ground here in Alice Springs, they were concerned they weren't included because they would have had some things to say.
And Carly, how's the mood there in Alice Springs? And this has all been sparked by the crime surge. What's the extent of that and the issues there?
It is pretty quiet in Alice Springs this week. Of course, we had the PM, Anthony Albanese, here last week. There's a bit of media in town. We are just one day away, though, Joe, from a decision on whether those intervention-era blanket booze bans will be reintroduced for good. In Alice Springs today, it's another day of restrictions on takeaway grog, but the community is feeling more divided than ever. Like I said, it is quiet. The kids that I've met in town, they just say they're very bored and there's nothing to do at home, and unfortunately some of them don't have homes, is what they have said. It's also back to school today, Joe, so we'll see how that has an effect this week.
Carly Williams reporting there from Alice Springs in the Northern Territory.